Coming up on today's episode, Monday Night Football, we had an exciting matchup between Jayden Daniels and Joe Burrow, getting the outcome of that. And Josh Allen just having a historical night as well in that doubleheader against Jacksonville. And we go to gambling on 14 or what? Sam Darnold and Andy Dalton are balling. Which team has the best 3-0 start of the year? All that coming up. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk from the Crib. I'm your host, Tanner Christian. Coming up on today's episode, we'll get into that magnificent play we saw on Monday Night Football between Jayden Daniels upsetting those Bengals and Joe Burrow in their house. Of course, Josh Allen just demolishing those Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. And 3-0 starts. Which team has the best? And how about number 14s in the NFL? Must be a magic number because Sam Darnold and now Andy Dalton, yeah, he's still in the league. He went out and balled out yesterday for the Carolina Panthers. We'll get into all that on today's show. So, remember, if you're new, episodes are every Tuesday and Fridays, available on all streaming platforms as well on the website, sportstalkfromthecrib.com. You can subscribe on the website as well and stream the podcast on there. As well, check us out on social media. Check Feel Heat Entertainment. It's Feel Heat ENT, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and X. So let's get into the first topic of the day. It's all about this Monday Night Football matchup. Jayden Daniels, Joe Burrow. First Monday Night Football game, third NFL career start for him, and he balled out. Joe Burrow, remember he first came in the league, taking Cincinnati to the Super Bowl. We talking Super Bowl watch? No, let's not get carried away. Let's settle down, pump the brakes. They're just 2-1. Bengals 0-3. But last night, Jayden Daniels, 21 of 23, 254 yards, 2 TDs, 39 rushing yards, and a TD in the victory over Cincinnati by a final of 38-33. And they found Terry McLaurin. He hasn't really been involved the first 2 weeks of the season, but they missed in that first play. He overthrew him. He was wide open. But then he ended up with 4 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown. 2 huge plays of that came in the passing game for Washington. So it's nice to see them get on board and create that because it could be very, very special. And I think you see it brewing already in the first 3 weeks of the season, especially since last night kind of finally happened. So it's being a duo to watch going forward for the rest of this year. I'm really excited about it. I was excited about it in the beginning of the year. This didn't really click first couple weeks of the season. That's expected. A rookie quarterback, it's going to take a little bit to get in line in an NFL game. But the thing that's very beneficial to Jayden Daniels, we saw what he did in LSU. We saw he had 55 career starts in college. And that his demeanor, like his poise, is just so relaxed and comfortable. And if something happens and, he can overcome it. He's not worried about, if something bad happens during the game, like if they miss it on third down or if they have to punt. But meanwhile, this team has not punted the ball in the last 2 games. So they didn't punt last night. They didn't have a turnover last night. So that is something that's very impressive with this young team. They're not turning the ball over. They're not punting the ball. Last week, it was those 7 field goals, I think, with the Giants. But they never punted the ball. And he had more touchdowns in this game here on Monday Night Football in Cincinnati than he did incompletions. He only had 2 incompletions the whole game. He had 3 touchdowns on the game. If you include the rushing, so that's very impressive. Meanwhile, Joe Burrow in Cincinnati falls to 0-3. Him last night, the stat line is pretty, good, but they got that touchdown at the end, and their defense has been playing horrible. With Joe Burrow, 29 of 38, 324, 3 TDs. Him and Jamar Chase hooked up. He got 6 catches, 118 yards, and 2 touchdowns last night. But their defense is just letting up everything. Their secondary was horrible last night. They're letting up almost 27 points a game on the year. That's bad in that division. But it is the AFC North. The Steelers are actually 3-0. Everybody's like 1-2, and the Cincinnati's 0-3. So don't count them out just yet. They got the Panthers next week. Then they got the Ravens, at Giants, at the Browns. Then they get the Eagles. So you got to find your footing real quick, especially off of that heartbreaking loss last week against the Chiefs at the end. And now you go on Monday Night Football this week, and you lose to Washington. You let the rookie come in there and beat the brakes off of you. So Cincinnati has some soul searching to do after this one. Be starting 0-3 in that tough AFC North where anybody can win at any given time. So, and their schedule coming up is not fluky. We'll see what happens with those Panthers now when they got Andy Dalton as their quarterback. If Joe Burrow can't go in the Carolina and beat that squad, then Cincinnati Bengals, their season is pretty much over. But let's look at Washington again, 2-1. They're top of the division there with the Eagles. Jayden Daniels, like I said, has been playing very impressive first 3 weeks of the season. They go to Arizona next week. You know, the desert has its way, so that'll be a pretty good game to watch him against Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. on the other side. So then they got the Browns at the Ravens, Panthers, and the Bears at home coming up in the next 5 games. So this Washington team, can they win the division? I picked them to actually win this division. People will call me crazy, you know, with that prediction. There was like, no way, it's the Eagles division, which it very well could be still. Cowboys, I was on the Cowboys, but I was all in on the Commanders, and I was like, Jayden Daniels is that guy. He has the it factor. He has everything. His poise. I wish he would stop taking so many hits when he decides to run with the ball. Get down. We need you the whole season, all right? I know you're trying to make some plays and whatnot, but get down, please. That's my only gripe on him so far. But if he can get that, you know, connection with Terry McLaurin a lot more often and in that passing game, that's really going to help him in regards to the overall game on the offensive side of the ball, because he's that number one guy. He's had, I don't know, 20 quarterbacks since he's been in the league for Washington. I feel like he's had like 20. You know, hopefully he finally has his guys put up great numbers even during that span. But Jayden Daniels is that guy, and he is no fool to be reckoned with. And look out for these Washington Commanders in the NFC East. Now, for the other Monday Night Football game, I'm not really going to get into it because I expected a blowout when Jacksonville was going to Buffalo. I was like, there's no shot this team has against Buffalo and Josh Allen. And sure enough, Buffalo drops 47 on them. And Josh Allen has 4 touchdowns. He just balls out. Trevor Lawrence and his Jaguars team look horrific. Like I told you all in the beginning of the season, to look out for the Texans. Look out for the Colts to be more impressive than the Jaguars and whatnot. So Jaguars look horrible. And paying Trevor Lawrence all that kind of money and guarantees was absolutely ridiculous before the season started, because he looks horrific. Looks like a complete bust now. He is declining. So that's all we're really going to talk about the other Monday Night Football game. Because I watched maybe the first quarter and just turned it off because I was like, yeah, it's going to get ugly quick. Sure enough, it did. 47-10. Oh, man. Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville, Doug Peterson. Yeah. Great team you all got over there at Jackson. Maybe you should stay in London. I don't know. You play better in London. You play more home games, it seems like, in London than you do in the States. So maybe that's an option, just to get out of the NFL. But anyways, let's hop into, are you going to be gambling on 14 or not? Do you hit or stay on 14? You know, you're playing blackjack. Do you get on 14? You see what this guy, are you hitting? Are you staying? And what are you going to do? That's kind of like a crazy all-in spec, because you're like, oh man, I'm going to get that 7, get that blackjack. The dealer says face card, they maybe go over it. You know, all those thoughts are going through your head. But I tell you what, 14's got something to say. Sam Darnold's got something to say. Andy Dalton, the red-headed rifleman, he's got something to say. Because they both balled out yesterday. And Sam Darnold has played very damn well the first 3 weeks of the season, because the Vikings are 3-0. We're starting with the Vikings here. They But, made C.J. Stroud look horrible. Made the whole Texas offense look horrible. Stephon Diggs back in Minnesota. What he's going to say about it? Come out with victory or what? No, Vikings win 34-7. Sam Darnold, 17 of 28, 181 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's just so proficient in this Kevin O'Connell offense. He's just proficient. It's something to say. I don't know what to expect. I expect the Minnesota being in a rebuilding mode, right? Maybe this year, this a little bit. They drafted J.J. McCarthy in the first round, but he got hurt during the preseason. And Sam Darnold's already there. Oh, he's just going to be the bridge quarterback. Well, look how great he's playing. He's got him off to a 3-0 start. Now, the defense is playing really well as well, with Brian Flores calling the plays and being the defensive coordinator. A couple weeks ago, a lot of talk about Tua and him when he was in Miami, the head coach, getting into it and whatnot. But, hey, Andrew Van Ginkel was in Miami when Brian Flores was the head coach. Now he's over there in that defensive scheme with Brian Flores and flourishing in it. That was one of the key frees and picks-ups. He had a sack yesterday on C.J. Stroud as well. So, say what you want, man. The guy knows how to coach some defense. And this Minnesota defense has been lights out. And Sam Darnold has been great. Justin Jefferson, a touchdown on the day, 81 yards receiving on 6 catches. So far on the year, Sam Darnold is 657 passing yards. He's ranked 13th in the league. 8 touchdowns now, which is first in the NFL so far for through 3 weeks. He only has 2 interceptions. It's pretty good for him. All right, because we're used to him ever turning the ball over, fumbling, interceptions when he was a Jet. He went to the 49ers there for a year. Supposedly, I think he was going to go to the Rams. He stayed, but now he's in Minnesota. So, 2018 first round pick, number 3 overall by the New York Jets, is out here balling in the NFC North for the Minnesota Vikings. Can he sustain it? It's not like they've had a fluke wins. They had a Giants opening week, but then they beat the Niners. Now they dismantled the Texans. Up next, we're going to see who they get, how he is in the division. Because you got at Packers next, then you got the Jets, then you got the Lions. So you got the Lions and Packers divisional matchups coming up twice in the next 3 weeks. And you got that Jets front. So we're going to see how Sam Darnold going against his former team. So these next 3 weeks are really good, I think, are going to decipher. Is it fluky? Is Sam Darnold really that guy in this scheme and this offense? Has he really found his match in the NFL that he's comfortable with, and the coach and the team? Or is it going to be kind of up and down old Sam Darnold coming up here in these next 3 games? Because I think this will really decipher if it's for real, or if it's kind of fluky. So they'll be on the lookout for in the next few weeks when it comes to him. Like, big game next week in Green Bay. Now, if he balls out, say even if they lose and he still has, 250 yards, 3 TDs or a couple TDs or something, then I'm really going to look at this guy like Sam Darnold's for real. So you're hitting the stand on 14. I'm all in on 14, so I'm not going against anything right now. But these next 3 weeks are going to really decipher it. Now let's get into the other number 14, Andy Dalton. As we know, the biggest headline last week, Carolina Panthers benching Bryce Young. And basically saying, you can't run this offense, you suck. 0-2, dismal start. The offense has not moved at all in any game of the year. Then all of a sudden, Andy Dalton, hey, they get the Raiders, but it's the Raiders, in Las Vegas. It's this typical Raiders. You think they've been kind of competitive to start the year. Gardner Minshew, for some reason, is their quarterback. I don't know why Aiden O'Connell is not their quarterback. That's a different story. But Andy Dalton, man, 36-22 victory over the Raiders. And he throws for 26 of 37, 319 yards, and 3 TDs, no turnovers. So he went out there, balled out, proving that he still got some to prove here. And the last time this offense was this proficient was, what was it, like week 3? It was like early in the year last year, I believe, where that was the last time they actually had a prolific offense. He threw for 300 passing yards. Deontay Johnson gets over 100 receiving yards, and Chuba Hubbard runs for over 100 rushing yards. Dave Canales' system must work, I guess, right? Bryce Young couldn't do any of this. Bryce Young was looking like the worst QB bust of all time with his stats. Like, what is it, 2-16? Starting? Whew. And you have no offense whatsoever. Get dismantled by the last 2 weeks to open the year. You just get, the bricks beat off you. Like, it was just that horrible watching you play. And then a week later, Andy Dalton in the same exact offense throws for over 300 yards. You run for over 100. And then you got a 100-yard receiver, Deontay Johnson, got a $122 and a touchdown. So Andy Dalton, man, I'm kind of feeling Andy Dalton, man. He came out there. He may help me in my fantasy football for all I know. I'm desperate. With the red rifle out there gunning it for Carolina proves that Bryce Young is a bust. They say, held you that body. You just tell, like, Bryce Young, this, I don't know what it is. It's just like his demeanor, like his body language. He just seems like, oh man, I guess I could play football today and try. And like, I just don't see that fire in him. I think Andy Dalton may have to teach it. Like, hey man, get some fire in you. Like, you see what I did? I didn't care. I'm on my last team, last couple of years, probably in the NFL. I'm going out there slinging it and having fun. Reminds me a little bit of what Ryan Fitzpatrick was doing. Hey, look, another guy that wore the number 14. I don't know what it is. Something about it. Number 14. Right? I don't know. Like, go out there and just have fun. Fling. If you throw a couple of interceptions, who cares? At least you're out there trying and having fun, right? And that's what Andy Dalton did yesterday. And that's so lacking. He put on those Las Vegas Raiders. Antonio Pierce even came out saying the guys made business decisions out there today. So we'll see how this Raiders team responds. And it's not very good if you let this guy just come in and drop 36 points in the Panthers offense, who can't score a lick or even score a touchdown, and then they score this many points on you. That's embarrassing. I know Antonio Pierce is pretty pissed off about all that, but Andy Dalton out there balling, man. I'm all in on him. I'm all in on him. I'm on him too. I don't know why, but screw it, man. What do you got to lose? What does Carolina got to lose anyway? They made a horrible trade away all their future for a guy who's not going to commit and do anything for your team. You got one of the worst owners in the league. But man, screw it. Go out there and have some fun. All right, for the final top of the day, like, who has the best 3-0 start of the NFL so far this year? Who can maintain it? Chiefs and Bills start off 3-0. I believe they can maintain it. I believe they're both getting to the playoffs. They both may get to the AFC Championship game, especially the Chiefs. I am not ever going to bet against them or pick against them ever again. So I've been with them the whole year. They just seem like the well-rounded team. They seem to somehow always win in the end, and the refs have a little bit to play for. It's destined. Okay. The Bills, according to the AFC East, I think they can get it. Even though I picked Miami in the beginning of the year to win the AFC East, it's not looking too good with them without Tua, then Sky Thompson, and their QB Tim Boyle, it looks like. They did sign Tyler Huntley, so we'll see how Miami can respond, if at all. But the Bills look destined for this AFC East. I think they can maintain it. But let's look at these other teams. These are the surprisers. Vikings are 3-0. Steelers are 3-0 with Justin Fields. The Seahawks are 3-0 there with Geno Smith. So out of those three teams, which one's more likely to maintain it and get into the playoffs? And maybe it's just so tough to really difficult to choose here, because these teams are good, but to me, I don't know if they're good enough. Even with the Steelers and the AFC North, I still think the Ravens and the Bengals, despite them being 0-3, can still beat them, right? I don't know if Justin Fields is going to maintain it. I guess he will be the QB because Russell Wilson still dealing with injury. Justin Fields has been playing really well, a little more proficient, especially last week. So the Seahawks, on the other hand, in the NFC West, you see the problem with the Rams, but you saw them come back that was awesome, the way they came back in the fourth quarter against the Niners. So the Rams are still difficult, despite the injuries are just depleting that team. And like I say, you still got the Niners. So, can they maintain it? They're going to be right there at the end. I think all three of these teams will be right there at the end in their respective conferences for the wild card position. I don't see these three teams winning their division still, even with their 3-0 starts. Like I said, the Vikings are getting into 2 of the 3 next games against the division. We're going to see how they come out of that. The Steelers, can Justin Fields really maintain this proficient performances with that great defenses? Don't turn the ball over. Don't take a lot of sacks. The Steelers kind of get with it. But if you score just a little bit on them, it's just, it's just hard to kind of stay with them because I don't know if they have enough on offense to really push for that. Pickett's playing well outside. You got Pat Freeman with the tight end, Najee Harris running back. I get it. You got some weapons, but I don't know if it's enough to put them over the edge. And so which team can really maintain it? It's really hard to pick this. The Vikings, Steelers, or Seahawks. Vikings, again, no Sam Darnold. I got to roll with number 14, right? I've been talking good about it the whole episode here. I got to roll with number 14. I got to say the Vikings. Just because Brian Flores in that defense and what Sam Darnold, and they got Justin Jefferson to throw the ball to. Let's give it to Aaron Jones playing really well in the backfield for them too. People forget about that. Aaron Jones can still play running back. He had over 100 rushing yards this past week. So their offense has been working. He's going to face in Green Bay his former team next week. So this is going to be interesting. This next week's matchup is really going to be a fun one to watch. But I got to roll with the Vikings. I'm not really sold on the Steelers. I can't do it. Even though I'm proud of Justin Fields, I'm excited that he's starting over Russell Wilson. I think that's the right move. Even if Russell Wilson is healthy, you got to stay with Justin Fields, I believe. The Seahawks, Geno Smith, I think the division is so tough. But the Seahawks are playing good football. And if you're going into Seattle to play a game, that 12th man is serious. So they're, to me, right there on that border. I really kind of want to lean towards them because I think they can get in the playoffs, possibly that wild card. But right now, I just have to hold on to the Vikings because of number 14. Don't fail me, Sam Darnold. Can't be talking about former Jet QB and praising him like this. So watch them lose the next 3 games. That'd be bad luck, right? So, but I got to roll the Vikings on the best starting to maintain that starts going forward. That's going to wrap up today's episode. I want to thank you all for joining me here on Sports Talk from the crib with your favorite sports host, Tanner Christian. Remember, new episodes are every Tuesday and Friday. It's available on streaming platforms. Be sure to check out the website, sportstalkfromthecrib.com. You see the podcast on there. Sign up for the newsletter on the website too. And check us out on social media. We're at Feel the Heat Entertainment. It's Feel the Heat ENT. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and X. Thanks for joining me again. You all have a wonderful day. Catch you all next time.